Hey guys, welcome back. And today we have the Leica X2. So why did I get this camera? I got it because I wanted to make a video and see what the Leica experience was. Now I saw a video of a YouTuber and he was going over the Leica X1. Now he mentioned that the Leica X1 had several issues with the flash and slow autofocus. So I thought might as well just get the X2. So I got the X2. Now these cameras are not cheap. They do run around $1,000, but if you're able to snag a good deal like I did, maybe you could get it for less. So this one cost around 800 bucks. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section if it was a good deal or not. First thing first, eBay, kind of sketchy place to buy stuff. So I was expecting to get scammed. One reason why I was recording. So here you can see the box. It was a little bit scratched up, but it is what it is for a camera that came out in 2012. Now again, 16 megapixel camera, 24 millimeter lens that you cannot change, and 16 megapixels. So also you cannot record video with this camera. And the good thing with this deal was that it came with the box. And here you can see the box. It does come with the original accessories that this camera came with. And I think the presentation is great. Now, one thing that I would say to eBay sellers is clean your stuff before you sell it. Like nobody wants to get a dirty camera. And this is what I got. I got a dirty camera and I had to clean it afterwards, but it is what it is. When you're paying, when you're getting stuff on eBay, you really don't know what. This camera also came out in 2012. So the price for this camera back in 2012 was around $2,000. And for $2,000, you get a couple of things. You get this nice looking bag that says Leica. You get a USB cable and some adapters for when you're traveling overseas, which is pretty nice, convenient. You know, cameras nowadays don't give you this many things. Back in the day, they used to give you everything. Here's your charger and a case so that you could protect your camera. And now for the main thing. Here is the camera itself, and it comes in this nice box, and the presentation is great. You know, the foam around the camera for protecting it is awesome. And the first impressions that I got was that it felt a little bit light, kind of cheap, and again, dirty. Those scuffs, the seller did mention those scuffs, but he didn't mention that the screen was kind of scratched a little bit. That's a whatever. The lens does pop off super easy, so something to be aware. And there was nothing wrong with the lens, no scratches. But later in some pictures, I noticed that there was dust on the sensor. So another thing you need to be aware of when you're buying old cameras. The battery is there. Something to notice is that when that battery, if you need to replace it and you have it on a tripod, it's going to be really hard to get that battery out. And that is also where your SD card goes. So if you need to replace your SD card and it's mounted on a tripod, you're kind of SOL. It does have built-in memory, so if you don't have an SD card inserted, you're fine. And the battery, after charging it, it lasted quite a bit. A whole hour taking pictures and it was still full. I'm going to show you guys some pictures that I took that are not edited, straight from the camera. Just let me know what you guys think and stay till the end of the video. I know it's a long video, but just stay till the end. So this one is the first picture I took. Nothing crazy here. I just wanted to see how the picture was going to come out. This is a rose on top of my window. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. Now this is where I wanted to have like a tiltable or movable LCD. That way I could get a lower angle. It was really hard to look at the LCD. It wasn't that bright. And to focus, it was also hard. But I managed to get this picture. It's one of my Halloween decorations from one of my neighbors. I thought it was pretty cool. And I was trying to get that solar flare, but it was really hard to get. Now this one right here, it was just spontaneous. I thought it would look cool. Took a quick picture. Nothing really crazy here. This is another one where I wanted to get a solar flare, but again, I kind of, whatever came out on the LCD was not the final product. Like, it looked good on the LCD, but it didn't look good here. And this one is another example. On the LCD, it looked dark, but when it came out, it looked like this. So again, I don't know what was going on, if it was the actual computational thing inside the camera, but it looked good now. Now this one is another solar flare that I was trying to catch, and I managed to get it. And I think this one came out looking good as I wanted. So let me know what you guys think. With this one, I was trying to hide the sun and see how it would handle the shadows. And I think it came out great. Dynamic range wise, it looks good. This one, we have a moving subject in front of a building. I think this one looks cool. You can see the cracks on the building and everything. You can see the bricks. I was standing around maybe 20 feet away from this building when I took this picture. This picture was coming out overexposed, but after like 10 attempts, I was able to capture this one picture. I think this one looks great. So let me know what you guys think. On this one, I think this garden gnome looks pretty cool. Color wise, looks awesome. And you could read what it says, welcome, hello. The details are there, pretty good. I shot this at 2.8. And one thing that I want to mention is that this lens is a 24mm. So beware if this is the adequate lens for you. And you can shoot JPEG and you can shoot DNG. So if you really want to do some post-processing, you can with the pictures. These pictures are not they're not processed at all. These are just shot with the camera, because I want you guys to see what the camera can do, not what I can do. Because a lot of photographers out there, you know, they'll take some pictures and they'll say, well, this is the greatest camera, but they did some post-processing to these pictures. Now I want to show you guys what I mean by overexposing. So this picture is overexposed and I really couldn't get it down. I really tried to get a good picture of this, but I couldn't, so I just gave up. Now later on I will find out how to do it, but I just didn't want to go back to this place to do it. Now this picture was taken with the inbuilt filter, which is a Vivid. So let me know what you guys think with the Vivid filter. I think it looks good. And these two pictures were shot with the natural filter. A little bit overexposed on the top of the house, but other than that, I think it looks fine. With this one, you can see the American flag, nice colors, natural kind of grayish tint to it. And then this is the same grayish tint natural. I like it. It looks kind of rustic, kind of old. And then we have a black and white, which is okay if you like taking black and white pictures. I usually like to do my black and whites in post. And then we have a Vivid filter on with this camera. And then the next picture is a side shot of that same house with Vivid at 2.8. Now, for time's sake, I'm just going to let all of these pictures run through. If you really want to look at them, and just pause the video, because if not, we'll be here forever. But I will stop at one of the pictures that I like the most. And overexposed picture, and this is how I fixed it later. So again, overexposing on this camera is kind of wild. I like this filter. This is natural Vivid. This is Vivid and this is natural. Standard filter. Now there is a squirrel in this picture. Let me know if you could find it, and if you did, let me know in the comment section. Now this was tricky because the focus was going, you know, to random places. As long as you put it center, you'll be fine. Here I had to use manual focus. Yes, this camera does allow you to do manual focus, because the autofocus would not focus on the actual wood. So again, if you're into macro photography, this is going to be an issue for you. So here again, overexposed. I took like 10 pictures to get the ones that I'm going to show you here. But overexposing is something with this camera on autofocus. So here's what I think was a good picture. And then this is what I like, the one that I like. And again, I'm going to show you another example where it was overexposed. And then I had to use the manual ring to get it like this. And this is the last picture. Nice and colorful fall vibe to it. I like the red, green, yellow, and oranges it comes out, and the sun in the background. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you stuck around this far, now I'm going to go over what I think about this camera, if I like it or not. So please just stand by. I know this video is kind of long, but trust me, you want to see this. So hey guys, and here we have the Leica X2, and if you look at the top of this camera, you're going to see those two dials, and the A stands for auto, and auto usually works on this camera. Like I said, it kept overexposing some of the pictures that I was taking, so beware. And then on the top where you turn it on and off, the C and the S is for continuous shooting, and then for single shooting if you're interested in that. I think continuous shooting is great. You could also do EV bracketing on this camera, so if you want to take HDR pictures, great. Now on the back of this camera, you're going to see a 2.7 LCD. You have a dial that you could rotate, and then you have 4 directional buttons for menu, EV, autofocus, flash, and a timer. It does have a manual autofocus ring where you see that says Leica camera. That's where it's at. And overall, the feel of this camera is plasticky, but you know, it feels great in the hands and it's lightweight. So you wouldn't have any issues with that. On the left where you see my thumb, that's the flash, and it has that toggle where if you swipe it, the flash comes out. So again, if you're taking pictures at dark, it works out for you. And then you have play, focus, white balance, ISO, and info, so you know what you're shooting. And it also, where you see that little Leica where the hot shoe is, you could put an electronic viewfinder, so if you are shooting in sunlight, you could use that and it'll help you out. Here in the front, it does have that classic Leica look. One thing that I didn't like was that cap. That cap comes off super easy. And if you're interested in that lanyard, I'll leave a link down below where I got it. That is the small rig lanyard, and I suggest you get one of those because holding this camera with your hand, you know, it's so small that you might drop it. So I highly recommend using this little lanyard that I got from Small Rig. And then get yourself a pouch so that way the camera does not get scratched up. So those are my 2 cents for you guys. So other than overexposing and, you know, having to use those manual dials on top, I think this is a good camera because it kind of forces you to think outside the box. So if you're a starting photographer, maybe this might not be the camera for you, but it should be the camera you get, because it does kind of forces you to think what settings you have to. Usually we're so used to using our own cameras and putting them in auto or putting them in aperture priority or shutter priority. This camera doesn't do that for you. It does, you know, require you to think what settings you need to put them on. But other than that, is it worth the price? I mean, relatively, if you could afford it and you really want to try it, I would say go ahead and get it. But I mean, if you're really just a photographer, this camera doesn't really give you high resolution photos and do, you know, out of this world things. It's just a different type of camera for a different type of purpose. So if you're like, you know, street photography, nature photography, stuff like that, portraits, I think this could be good for you. But if you're thinking of using this as a professional camera, I don't know. You know, it might be up to you. I don't know how you're going to use it. So for me, though, I think it's great. I always wanted a Leica. I think this is a good starting Leica. It does kind of get one foot into that door. And here I'm going to demonstrate the autofocus and manual focus, so you can see. You could select it and then you turn that dial, and you're going to need this if you're into like macro photography, because sometimes that autofocus kind of just goes everywhere and you can't really, you know, focus right on some subjects. So highly suggest that you use your manual focus when autofocus is not doing its focusing. So just keep that in mind when using this camera. But other than that, the LCD is fine for what it is. This little panel right here is where you would use your USB cable. It is the old style USB, so know that you're going to have to get that cable if you just get the camera without that cable. And then it has a HDMI out, and that's the flash. It comes in and out. I think the X1 had issues where that flash would break, so I think they fixed that on the X2. And overall, I think it's a good camera. It does feel plasticky, but it doesn't feel bad in a way. So I can't really stress enough how lightweight it is. It does fit in your pocket, and the menu is not that hard to navigate. So as long as you get you get used to it, you'll be fine. Guys, I'm gonna cut the video here because it's getting too long, and I know people's attention span is not that great. So one thing that I want to mention is that the motor focus is loud. So I'm going to try to get it here. And this is where this camera kind of shows its age. That focus motor, you can really hear it, and it's super loud. So just beware if you get this camera and you try it and you're like, this focus sounds bad. It's not the focus that is bad, it's that it is a normal thing with this camera. They sound like that. As far as I've done my investigative work, that is the noise that motor makes, so don't be alarmed. But for sure, I'm ending the video now. I think that's all that I have covered with this camera. So let's just do a quick, final thoughts. Overexposure is kind of wild on this camera. Focusing on the close subject is kind of crazy, so you're going to have to use that manual focus sometimes. And then the motor noise is a little bit loud, and the cap falls out super easy. So those are the 4 things that I don't like about this camera. But other than that, everything else I think is fine. Price point, I wouldn't pay anything over $1,000 or $900. I think that's just wild for a camera that is this old. But it is a Leica, so just keep that in mind. Maybe this camera will go up in price. If you're negotiating this on eBay, just know that some people right now need money. So maybe if you give them a good offer, they might accept it. I'm not trying to capitalize on people's problems, but it is a thing. People need money. If you give them a good offer, they will take it. So don't go and pay up what they are requiring or what they're requesting. Just give them a good offer. More than likely, they will say yes. So thank you guys for watching. And again, I am not sponsored. I paid this with my own money. So if you want to support the channel, please leave a like, subscribe, share this video, like this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. I also have an Etsy page where you could support the channel that way by purchasing anything on that Etsy page. Link will be in the description. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.